So every time we talk about Tangzu product, I'm transported back to the time of the ancient Tang dynasty as all their stuff is themed to it. Previously we had the Shimin Li, the Wu Zetian, and now we're having the latest princess from the Tang dynasty joining the fray. We are talking about Changle. So Changle was a princess in the Tang dynasty, and according to historians, not me, she was a rather smart lady with a cheerful personality and was rather pretty as well, and maybe that was why she was selected for this REM. It was also said that her parents really did favour her. So the Changle here is one of the cheapest offering from Tangzu to date, priced at just 99 cents more than the Waner at just 19.99 American dollars, really scraping the bottom of the bargain bin. We'll start off with an unboxing. The art on the box is rather pretty with a white crane on the top with a picture depicting Changle on the right. Quite a bit of effort has been given to the artwork, which is actually pretty nice. I rather like this ancient waifu. So the thing about the Changle is that it is clearly built to the price, and unboxing this pair of earphones is honestly nothing special. Removing the box reveals the IEM themselves held together in a retaining cardboard. This is one of the most budget ways of holding an IEM that I've seen, but no shade thrown here as I understand that this is built to a cost. Below the cardboard retaining thingy is just a cable and a pack containing ear tips. They are quite generous to provide two pairs of ear tips here, one being a larger ball and the other of a smaller ball. Quality of these ear tips are okay and nothing to shout about, but they do work well. And really that's just all from unboxing. There isn't really much to shout about, it's not really special, but well, it's nice that they have a nice picture on the front. Next, I will talk about build quality. I simply adore the chassis of the Changle. It is a simple, no-frills bullet-shaped IEM that is proven to be able to fit most people. The chassis has a pisco color on the nozzle and the end, while the center portion is silver. The whirlpool indentations on the chassis is nice. This pair of earphones fits its theming as it draws from Asian motifs. Just so you know, I've been waiting to say pisco in a video for quite a while. Also, the IEM is made from metal and can probably cause the way it is due to the simple construction. This is a fixed cable IEM, which I am completely okay with. I don't see people who are just getting into the game wanting to cable roll, and I'd rather them save a few bucks here. The earphones are marked left and right quite clearly with bits on the ends coloured red for right and blue for left respectively. Cable provided on the Changle is made from oxygen-free copper and includes a microphone as well. Nothing much to complain about as it is pretty decent. Under the chassis is a 6mm dynamic driver. Tangzu did not really dive too much into the driver details, but I guess the size fits the chassis shape quite well, because if you're going to put a larger DD there, it's going to be quite big. But in all seriousness, build quality on the Changle is simple and good. I rather like its piss color gold as well. Comfort game. Comfort game is actually very strong on the Changle as it is basically a bullet shape, and this has been perfected since the days humans started putting things in their ears, you know, like fingers, cotton buds, and for the daring ones, a watermelon. Cable is slightly springy, but for the price, it is forgiven. And of course, the most important thing, we are going to talk about sound. When it comes to sound, Changle is a V-shaped IEM, as you can see from the short snippet of the graph just shown just now. Basically, it has slightly elevated mid-bass with slightly recessed mid-range and an okay-ish treble. As you know, the graph says nothing about tone. When it comes to tone, as expected at its price point, it is not the most refined, but again, these are kind of cheap, so I mean, the graph would suggest that these should be okay, and if you have no expectations, I think that they really are. These are a happy entry-level introduction to the world of audio. Just for those of you who are interested, I use a Lotu Paul S2 and a Lotu Paul Gold Touch Titanium when reviewing the Changle. Bass. There isn't much sub-bass extension on the Changle as it rolls off very quickly when it hits 50 Hz. As such, much of the bass produced on the Changle is more mid-bass centric. Bass drums have a nice kick but requires quite a powerful DAP for it to actually have quite good control. I do find that details on the Changle can be a bit better in the bass segments, where the reverberations can be a bit clearer. Quantity of bass though balances well with the rest of the frequencies and does not overpower the mid-range, which is rather important. Transients on the bass isn't lightning quick, and I would rate it leaning slightly towards the slow side, not lumbering slowly but not quick either. Mid-range. Vocals are a little recessed when you compare it against the bass and treble, but on the whole still prominent enough for it to not be drowned out in the mix. Texture and resolution is okay as there are average edges to the different voicings. Things are slightly better with female vocals compared to male vocals though, as there is a slight peak at 3 kHz, which allows for female vocals to have a bit more shape to the overall tone, but this does not really add more details. When instruments comes in, you can hear them, but they lack a bit of distinction between the vocals and instruments. It does not go into the category of being congealed together, but they aren't quite separate either. Again, I guess taking price into consideration, they are okay. Nothing mind-blowing, but just okay. Treble. The thing about the Changler is that they have no air, as treble extension isn't the best. They dip significantly after the 8K point. But apart from the lower treble that is okay, it is not particularly sparkly either. Crashes and cymbal sound as they should without exaggerated brilliance. They do not lend enough edge and separation to the mid-range, but again, for the price, I think it's actually kind of okay. I do find them a little rough sounding despite the lack of said brilliance though. When it comes to soundstage width and height, honestly nothing to shout about. I would say that they are just average at best. And when it comes to positioning, again, it's okay for the price, but depth and positioning is lacking as the separation of the notes isn't as crisp as I like. So importantly to note is that I will be comparing the Changler with some of the other earphones in the similar price range, just so we gauge how they are in terms of build and sound. So pitting it against its sibling, the Tangzu Waner, I must say that the Waner takes the cake when it comes to sonics. It's just much livelier with more engaging vocals. Instrument separation is also better on the Waner. But the Changler hits back with better build quality. The plastic on the Waner can come across as circa 2019 KZ, which is rather brittle and chippy. But on the Changler, the metal chassis is just simply quite exquisite and wonderful. So next versus the Simgot EW100p. And just a while ago, Simgot has also released their $20 chifi that wants to battle it out in this category. The Simgot EW100p has a more exciting signature compared to the Changler. Very obviously, you get more mids and more upper mids on the EW100p. The EW100p is also more dynamic compared to the Changler, which is not as dynamic by comparison. Mid-range again here is more lively on the EW100p and has a shimmer that the Changler is missing. The EW100p also has some air compared to the darker sounding Changler. Staging wise, it is more impressive on the EW100p, where when you have pans in the music where music goes from left to right, it just sounds a bit more clear and precise. And in terms of build quality, I think I like the build of the Changler. It is a nice metal chassis in a simple bullet shape, but the EW100p is no slouch either. Of course, it is not made of metal, but for plastic, I think that it feels quite nice in the hands and feels rather solid. Next, we will be comparing it with the Kiwiears Dolce. So comparing the Changler to the Dolce has very nice resonance, a sweeter and lusher and more elevated mid-range compared to the Changler. What I like about the Dolce is how it deals with resonances at lower volumes. It just handles so elegantly. But I do have to say that it does struggle a bit when the music mix becomes a bit more complex. But overall, it is a very elegantly tuned earphone. It's just that when things get complicated, the separation suffers just a little bit. The Changler by comparison is more compressed sounding without the same extension and depth present. And finally, in conclusion, I feel that Changler is an okay-ish release from Tangzu. They fare well when it comes to build quality. I do really like the two-tone color of it being silver and piss gold. Yeah, basically I just like saying piss gold because it's funny. This is also a good option for the bullet-shaped style of IM should you fancy. But when it comes to sound, I think that there are other options out there in the market that is slightly better. But in terms of build quality, I think that the Changler, it's a really nice metal build IM that can fit almost anybody. And with that said, thank you guys for watching a super chunk, super audio show. If you like the channel so far, please kindly press the like and subscribe button somewhere down below. It will help me out immensely, to keep the channel of the spirit going. With that said, I hope to see you guys soon.